Why hello there! Welcome back to another video. It's your girl Meg. Today's video is the third video in a 4-part series. We are talking all about makeup tips for beginners. I am taking you through my entire routine, start to finish, and giving you lots of tips and tricks along the way to amp up your makeup routine, something that's going to help you feel more pretty, feel more glam, or whatever. If you're feeling lost and hopeless, or if you just want some new tips, hopefully you can learn something new today. And today I am walking you through an eyeshadow tutorial. I've done something very simple, it's very easy to achieve, and I'm using a palette that has a lot of shades in it that you can probably find if you don't have this specific palette. I am also using a set of Amazon brushes. You're not gonna have to go around and try and scrounge up a bunch of different brushes. This is just all one set to make it super easy, and I'm linking that obviously below. If you've watched any of my other eyeshadow tutorials, especially on IGTV or on Instagram, they all are very similar in technique and they all kind of have a similar style to them, so you'll see exactly how I break it down and blending and stuff like that. So hopefully you find that helpful. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. But before you do, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe buttons, and then make sure to follow along on social media so we can be friends. Let's just go ahead and get this eyeshadow look started. All right, now we're doing the fun part, is the eyeshadow, and we're gonna do lips as well. I'm gonna go in with the Tartelette in Bloom palette. It is a palette that is fairly neutral. If you don't have this eyeshadow palette, I feel like you can find these types of shades in many different other eyeshadow palettes and you can create a similar look. So this is what I'm gonna be using today. We're going to keep it fairly simple and very attainable. Obviously you can glam this up even more if you wanted to, but we're going to keep this as like daytime pretty glam, but not too glam. Okay, let's just do this. All right, I'm gonna create a very neutral eyeshadow look with a pop of gold on the lid. So what I'm gonna do is, the first shade I'm gonna pop into is this one right here. This is called Smarty Pants, and I'm gonna use a fairly large fluffy brush like this. And this is going to go right here. It is kind of above the lid into the crease and up there. And we call this the transition shade. This is the first shade that we're going to lay down. All the other colors are going to lay on top of it and create sort of a gradient effect. And since this is laid down first kind of higher up, this is going to kind of poke out through some of the eyeshadow, and it's going to look super blended. The key with eyeshadow is honestly we are blending, and I'm using windshield wiper motions and circular motions to get this nice and blended in this area. I'll also dip back in and build this up to where I want it before I move into another shade. I'm going to show you on one eye, so I'm not like going back and forth and back and forth, but I will have this other eye done in the process. Alright, I'm going to take a smaller, fluffier brush so you can see how big that fluffy brush was that I started with. I'm going to go in with a slightly smaller of a fluffier brush, or you could use the same one if you wanted, if you only had one brush. And I'm going to dip into this shade right here, which is the shade Rebel. Rebel is a warmer kind of cocoa, hot cocoa type of shade. And this dark brown is going to get stamped right there in the outer corner and into the crease. So what I like to do is I dip my brush into the shade. If there was excess, you can tap it off. And then it's just getting tapped there onto the area. Then you could switch to this other brush and blend it out if you are having trouble getting these shades to blend. Or you could just stick with this same brush, place it, and then blend it. I find that these Tarte shades are very easy to blend, and I don't have any issues with getting this to blend out after I've placed it, but this is just a technique that you can do if you are having trouble with your eyeshadows blending. So again, you're going to place it with this brush, and you can sort of start wiggling it into where you want it, and then take your other fluffier brush, and it still has that product on it, and it's getting blended. Or, like I said, you're gonna dip in and use that same brush to blend it out. I have very big eyes, so this chocolate brown shade is getting a little bit onto my eyelid. But if you have a hooded eye, or if your eyes are smaller, you're going to start placing these shadows a little bit higher. If I had a hooded eye, I would be placing this much higher so where the eye could see it. But since my eyes are bigger, I place things a little bit lower. So keep that in mind. Please play with your eye shape and just realize that your eye shape sort of plays into this quite a bit. So you're using that chocolate brown shade in the correct placement. But again, bigger eyes, you want to place it a little bit more downward and onto the lid. Smaller eyes, you're going to place it a lot higher, kind of up a little further. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other eye. One super important thing to note is that you're definitely going in light layers. You're dipping in, you're placing a tiny amount, and you are blending over and over and again to get that really nice blended gradient sort of look to the eye. Okay, so next thing that we're going to do, because I don't want this to be super complicated, is that I'm gonna use my finger and dip into the shade Funny Girl. This is Funny Girl right here. I'm gonna use my finger, and this is gonna go on the lid. I find that your finger is the best tool for metallic shades. And I am placing this right there at the inner corner is where I'm starting. And then I'm blending it outward. And that way it seamlessly transitions from the gold to the like chocolate brown that I have set down on the lid. You could also go into the shade Firecracker with your finger right here. And this could kind of go on the middle part of your lid. Can you see how Firecracker is a little bit more of a bronze? And that can set on the middle and outer portion of the lid. And I love this. This is like so pretty. See how pretty that is? It's very neutral. This is gonna work well with any eye color and a bunch of different skin tones. I'm gonna do the other eye. I think the lower lash line is so important to pull together an eye look. You can keep it blank like this if you want, but for me, I feel like it just pulls everything together and it gives a very soft definition because I don't like to wear a ton of eyeliner. I just think it's so much more flattering on my eye type to wear less eyeliner. And I feel like also the older that you get, it is way more flattering to kind of ditch the eyeliners and use shadows for a more softer definition. So what I'm doing is I am taking this is a pencil brush. I've already dipped into the shadow without sharing it with you. This is what's called a pencil brush. This pencil brush can be used for different things. You can smudge it on the outer corner. If you have really small eyes, you can use that brush there. But I like to use this as my lower lash line definition. I'm dipping that into the very first shade that we went in with, which is Smarty Pants. And that is going to buff along the lower lash line all the way from inner to outer corner. And I'm going to meet that eyeshadow up here in the outer corner. This gives, like I said, see how that kind of gives a little bit more definition and structure, but it's not heavy. It's not heavy. It's not weighing anything down. And it is not like, you know, like if you made yourself look like a raccoon with that eyeliner. You want to kind of step away from the heavy-handed eyeliner. Then what you could do is dip into this chocolate cocoa brown shade, the shade Rebel, and you're going to place that just on the outer corner of the eye. We don't want to use too much. I don't want to weigh this eye down. See what I mean? How you could leave this blank and it is very fresh. Or you could just use like one shade on the outer corner. I just feel with my eye shape, it just helps me get a little bit more of a almond eye shape if I pull some of that in the lower lash line. Okay, the final step in this eyeshadow, and this is see how easy it is and how pretty and glam it is I'm gonna highlight a little bit. I'm taking this cream color, it's matte, in the shade Charmer. Charmer is gonna go right under the brow bone. There's a little too much, use that finger to help you out there. Charmer's going right there in the brow bone and in the inner corner to give brightening and a highlighting effect to the eyeshadow that we've done. It's so pretty, so pretty. I'm just gonna do the other side because it doesn't take that long. And I forgot to show you the brush again. This is the brush I'm using, just a tiny little detail brush. Anything that's small will work for this. Any small brush you have on hand will work for this. Highlighting the brow bone. It's just going right under the eyebrow and right in the inner corner. And that's it. That is the eyeshadow look. Voila. Neutral, pretty, great for beginners if you want to step up your eyeshadow game. Okay, and that's it. That concludes the eyeshadow look. Here is the full face of makeup like you've been seeing with everything put together with the eyeshadow look. It is just like a nice neutral glam look that is very elevated and you can dress up or dress down. I hope you found something in this video that was helpful or you learned any new tips, and hopefully it gives you like what you need to go out and create a wonderful glam eyeshadow look. In the next video, we're going to kind of do like the icing on the cake things like the brows, my lashes, and lips, and hopefully you learned some new tips there, so make sure you stay tuned for the next video. If it is already published, I will have that link down below for you to go catch up on also the other videos that I've already published. With that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!